You ever have one of those neighbors who just lives to make your life hell? Yeah, that was Karen. Sorry. Susan. But let's be real. She's the queen of HOA Karens. The day she reported my backyard fountain for being too loud was the day I decided to turn her petty power trip into my personal masterpiece of revenge. Let me back up a sec. I'd been living in this cookie-cutter suburban neighborhood in Ohio for about 3 years. Nice place. Big yards. The kind of spot where kids ride bikes in the street and everyone waves. But the HOA runs it like a dictatorship. I'm a guy who likes his space. You know, my backyard's my sanctuary, string lights, a fire pit, and this little stone fountain I built myself. It's not some gaudy Vegas water show. It's just a gentle trickle, like a creek you'd hear on a hike. I'd sit out there after work, sipping a beer, listening to the water, feeling like I could breathe. Susan, though she had other plans. She lived 2 houses down, always patrolling with her clipboard like she was auditioning for neighborhood Gestapo. I swear, this woman could hear a leaf fall and call it a noise violation. It started innocently enough. One Tuesday, I get a knock. Susan's standing there, fake smile plastered on, saying, "Hey, neighbor, love what you've done with the place. But that fountain, it's disturbing the peace." I'm like, "Disturbing the peace, lady? It's quieter than your yappy chihuahua at 6 a.m." I tried to be polite, offered to turn it down, even though it's literally just gravity and water. She wasn't having it. Next day, there's an HOA notice in my mailbox. Unauthorized water feature. Cease operation or face fines. I called the HOA president, Tom, a decent guy who's just trying to keep the peace. He admitted Susan had been on a rampage, measuring decibels with an app on her phone. An app I laughed it off, but inside, I was fuming. This wasn't about noise, it was about control. I turned off the fountain to avoid the fines. But every time I looked at my quiet backyard, it felt like Susan had stolen a piece of my soul. I wasn't gonna let her win. I started thinking, what's the pettiest, most legal way to stick it to her? I spent nights scrolling HOA bylaws, sipping whiskey, plotting like I was in a heist movie. The rules were airtight about permanent structures and noise levels. But then I found a loophole. Temporary installations for special events were exempt. No decibel limits, no permits, as long as it was for a community gathering. Oh, Susan, you messed with the wrong guy. Here's where it gets good. I'm a bit of a tinkerer, used to build stage props for my college theater group, so I had an idea. I'd throw a community gathering every weekend, and instead of my little fountain, I'd build something so over the top it'd make Susan's head explode. I spent 2 weeks and a chunk of my savings on a reflective mist tunnel. Picture this, a 10-foot-long arched frame, covered in mirrored panels, with hidden pipes pumping out a fine mist that catches LED lights in every color of the rainbow. It was like something out of a sci-fi movie, but technically, it was a temporary water feature for my events. I invited the whole neighborhood to a backyard oasis party, sent out flyers, even got Tom to sign off on it. The pièce de résistance. A hand-painted sign on the tunnel that read, "HO can't stop this," in bold red letters. The first party was glorious. Neighbors showed up. Kids ran through the mist. Adults snapped selfies, and the tunnel glowed like a portal to Narnia. The mist made this soft whooshing sound, not loud, but definitely present. Susan showed up, uninvited, clutching her clipboard like a lifeline. I'll never forget her face red as a tomato, eyes bugging out. "This is unacceptable," she shrieked, pointing at the tunnel. "It's a safety hazard. It's too loud." I just smiled, handed her a lemonade, and said, "Susan, it's a community event. HOA approved. Want to join the fun?" The crowd cheered, and she stormed off, muttering about standards. But here's the twist, Tom. The HOA president wasn't as neutral as I thought. Turns out, Susan had been hounding him for years, nitpicking everyone's yards, even his. He pulled me aside later, grinning, and said, "Man, I've wanted to see her lose it for ages. Keep that tunnel up as long as you can." I didn't expect an ally, but damn. It felt good to have one. Tom's quiet rebellion gave me the green light to keep the parties going every Saturday. A new event, same tunnel, same sign. Susan tried everything: noise complaints, emails to the board, even a petition, but the neighborhood loved it. Kids called it the magic tunnel. Parents brought lawn chairs. Susan was outmatched. The final showdown came a month later. Susan showed up at my last party with a lawyer, some slick guy in a cheap suit who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. She demanded I dismantle the tunnel, claiming it violated community aesthetics. I was ready. I pulled out the bylaws, highlighted the temporary event clause, and pointed out the 50 neighbors dancing in the mist. "Aesthetics," I said. "Looks like the community loves it." The lawyer sighed, whispered something to Susan, and they left. I heard later he told her she had no case. That night, we partied till midnight. Mist swirling, lights flashing, and Susan's house stayed dark. In the end, I kept the tunnel up for 3 months, each event a middle finger to Susan's clipboard. She stopped patrolling after that guess she got tired of losing. My fountain's back on now, trickling away. And every time I hear it, I think of that glowing tunnel and Susan's defeated scowl. Was it petty hell? Yeah. Worth it, you bet. Sometimes, you gotta fight fire with a whole lot of mist. So, what do you think? Was I the hero this neighborhood needed? Or just a guy with too much time and a grudge? Drop your take below. I want to hear if you'd have done the same, or if I went too far. Let's talk about it. The end.